Go with the big story here. I'm Seher Zama. Our top focus is concerning the deadly coronavirus. It has claimed 213 lives so far. The WHO, in fact, has also upgraded its observation on this, declaring this a public health emergency. The number of infected has shot up as well. 7,834 people so far tested positive worldwide. Today, we'll be addressing our concerns. Some important, frequently asked questions that are related to the virus, precautionary measures which are in our hands. What are the symptoms? How do we recognize it? How is it different from a common cold? And should we be as worried? All of that discussed with experts today. But before that, let's also get you a quick update as far as India's efforts here for us are concerned. This is the day after India reported its first coronavirus positive case in the state of Kerala. India has now decided to evacuate Indians who are in Hubei province, which is where is the center of the outbreak. 400 Indians will be evacuated in a special Air India flight that has already left for China, and it is expected to arrive 2 a.m. 1st of February. Let's get in further inputs. We have with us our correspondent Neha getting us those details here. Neha, this is going to be the first batch. And the plan, of course, is to rescue 400 people, but there are more Indians who are based there. This would mean, of course, a string of flights that will have to be arranged. But what are the preparations on ground? When the passengers return, would they be put in a certain area for how many days under observation as well?
Absolutely, Seher. The efforts are on to bring these passengers back from Wuhan. But we understand that the Air India, this is the first batch that will be brought back from Wuhan to back to India. We understand that 400 passengers from the flight will be brought back. Now, the efforts that are being made is that the director operations of Air India will be accompanying this flight. There are at least 2 doctors inside this aircraft, along with the other medical crew and Air India staff of the national carrier. We understand that in the morning, this flight left from Mumbai to Delhi. At Delhi, it made a temporary halt. It got all the medical equipment that was necessary as far as masks, gloves are concerned, and all the other necessary equipment that is required. Now, it is mainly important here to understand after reaching Wuhan, it will at least take 6 hours for the flight to reach Wuhan. After it has left from here at 12:45 p.m. The crew will not be board from the aircraft. In fact, the passengers will be brought inside. An effort is being made to ensure that only those passengers who are not infected with the virus are brought back. Definitely after they are screened there at Wuhan itself. The flight will return by about 2 a.m. on Saturday. And here also for at least a period of 14 days, they will be quarantined to conduct the necessary checks that is remaining on these passengers. Now, this is the first batch, Seher, but we understand that the ministry is making talks with the Chinese government to be able to fly more flights, to be able to rescue all the stranded passengers, and all those talks are also in deliberation. But as of today, we understand that by tonight, the first batch of Indians from Wuhan will be here, and some relief as far as the medical treatment is concerned will be given to them here in India.
Right. Neha, please stay on with us because there are individual state governments, of course, being at it as well. This is regarding 30 young trainees from Andhra Pradesh who are trapped in China. They, in fact, have released a video and they're explaining the situation on ground. They said, though, that they're in touch with the embassy. They have access to medical supply. They have access to food, 3 meals a day. Currently, they are being taken care of there.
We want to tell you that we are fine. We have no issues at all. We are taking care of ourselves. The company is taking good care of us. We are being provided Indian food, 3 meals a day. We've been given medical supplies. We've been given water. We've been given everything required.
In the process of talking with the embassy people in Beijing, so the evacuation is almost on its way to the end. So now we wouldn't like any fake rumors spreading, which will cause our evacuation to stop or something.
Let's in fact also get an update of what's happening in Kerala, because in the state of Kerala, we have reported our first positive case of coronavirus just yesterday. And the patient, who is a student, has just returned from Wuhan University. The patient currently is in isolation in the hospital. Condition is believed to be stable, but of course, close monitoring is being done. The student, who had reached Kolkata from Beijing on the 22nd of January, has now reached Kochi then the following day on the 23rd. Let's get in all those details. Our correspondent Vivek is there with us with those inputs here. Vivek, this was of course mean more preparations on ground. This is no longer just screening or a precautionary measure, but it is treatment now of this patient.
Absolutely right. At this point of time, precautions are being taken, and especially this particular patient, whose treatment, which is the most important thing as far as the health department is concerned, because they have to make sure that she somehow get rid of this particular coronavirus, because remember, she is understood to be stable as of now, but also we need to understand that the government is backtracking her history, like she has left China on the 22nd, and then she has come to Kolkata and then to Kerala. So in the course of a journey, whom all which did she have associated with, the fellow travelers, the fellow her colleagues who have come along with her, everyone will be in quarantine. There's no doubt. They will be checked thoroughly, because there are good chances that that human to human transmission is possible. So that is the reason why backtracking is being conducted right now for all those people who have come from China. Also, a special training is underway at all the hospitals in Kerala as of now on how to treat these patients, how to understand their early symptoms, and make sure that they reach the next hospital nearby. Also, there is thermal scanning that is conducted at all international airports in Kerala, especially Ernakulam. That is the airport where most of these people who are coming from China are landing, and there is an ambulance outside the airport. They will be taken to the nearby hospital. So all possible actions have been taken as far as the government is concerned. They basically doesn't want one more case to be reported. They want this particular case to be the first and the last case, and that is the mission of the state government is concerned. They're saying that all possible help is being provided by the central government, and the chief secretary did have a word with the Central Health Ministry yesterday. And also, within the next 48 hours, what we understand is that all those people in China, especially in Wuhan province and the adjacent provinces, will be brought back to India. And when I spoke to the students over there, especially of those who are actually stranded in Ichiang province, they say that the government is doing all possible help at this point of time. The embassy have contacted them, and they're hopeful that in the next 24 to 48 hours that they will be back to their hometown.
All right. Vivek, many thanks for getting us all of those details. Remember, close eye that is now being kept in the state of Kerala as well, and the first positive case of India that has been recorded. Let's throw this open to experts with us. Remember, we told you at the start of the show that this is concerning us on a personal level, on what are we to observe, how are we to monitor the situation as far as we are concerned at an individual level. We have with us Padma Shri Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, who's the chairperson of Nephron Clinics. Doctor, appreciate you being with us. This is season change time in a lot of parts of India. Many of us are going to be having a seasonal flu. How are we to understand that we're still safe, that we're possibly not infected with this deadly virus?
Hi, good afternoon. I think it started this full episode of this flu from the coronavirus from China. It started rather slow, and now it's caught on to almost 25 countries. What has been reported is more than 2,000 people have been infected worldwide across the globe. There have been cases now even in US and in Toronto. There have been cases, some in India, some in Europe, and also in India, Southeast Asia. It's important to understand this is a new virus. This is something which the human being has never come in contact with. This is a zoonotic disease. That means it comes from animals. So animals are the carriers, and then it comes on to human beings. This is the 15th such serotype of this virus, but the 7th human-to-human transfer virus of coronavirus. We don't understand much of what it is going to do to the body short-term and long-term. Uh, it's important that this can remain latent. That means it can remain dormant in the body as an incubation period from 9 to 14 days without a patient having or the human being having any fever or cough. So a very high level of suspicion, a very
Okay.
early diagnostic intervention is required. Very stringent quarantine is required of the suspected people who are possibly getting infected with this, because this can be in the body for up to almost 2 weeks with no symptoms and then can surface up. It can also remain on various objects, including the surface of the skin or on your cell phones or on your table for a period of 5 days. So hand hygiene and hand washing is very important, not to touch the nose or the mouth or the eyes in case you come in contact with someone. Keep a safe distance of approximately 5 to 7 feet, more than a meter, meter and a half, especially for people who have cough or who are sneezing, because this is an airborne disease. You can have small micro aerosol
Yes.
particles in the air if a person coughs or a forceful sneeze. So it's basic precautions, personal hygiene, good hydration. Specifically, don't travel to the areas which are subjected to this disease at the present moment. And in case you have any symptoms, one of fever, especially high-grade fever, more than 24 to 48 hours. Second is if you have a cough, which is a dry hacking cough or a productive cough with breathlessness. If you have nausea or vomiting, if you have decreased urine output, if you have body ache, rash, headache, consult the local doctor and inform the health authorities on an immediate basis. The worst thing which anyone can do is to self-treat or to self-medicate, and then what's going to happen is you damage your own body organs and you can potentially transmit this disease to many others who you may come in contact with.
All right. So essentially, keep your face masks handy, keep your sanitizer, hand sanitizer handy with you, close to you, always be using that, is essentially what you're saying, doctor. But at what stage should a person suffering from common cold think that now this is a stage to go to the doctor and get myself tested for coronavirus?
Yeah, I think this is the most important question. The coronavirus, which is now called as the coronavirus or the novel or the new coronavirus, it presents exactly like any other common cold and cough. So it is going to have the same manifestations, signs and symptoms of a common flu, what we call as influenza. But the disease can be a lot more sinister and a lot more lethal because our body has developed immunity to this because it's a very new entrant into the human species. I must add one very important point is that this is the first time we have seen in this coronavirus as cross-species jump. That means it's dormant or carriers in bats and animals, including mice and rats and bats. Now it has crossed species. That means it's come into the human being. So the DNA of the virus is obviously going to be more virulent. The body is not adapt because it's not immune to this kind of invasion of this virus. The presentation can be very much like a common cold and cough. But if you have fever, cough, breathlessness, loose motion, vomiting, or any other symptoms, especially at this point of time, it's important to inform your local doctor on an immediate basis.
All right. That's very, very useful, crucial information, Dr. Bagai. Appreciate it. But please stay on with us. We're going to be getting in more voices. And these are voices of two students with us, Gokul Kumar and Ronak Nair, with us over a video call. They're studying MBBS at the China Three Gorges University. They're staying in Yishang, which is about 3 hours away from the epicenter of the outbreak, 3 hours away from Wuhan. Gokul and Ronak, many thanks for being with us. Take us through the situation on ground. Understandably, of reports that we'd gotten earlier, that there is a lockdown in the place. Access to medical facilities and food is difficult. What is the situation with you right there?
Okay, so it has been around a week now since we have been going out of our dormitories.
Okay.
So, all the time we have to wear masks. The shops are all closed. The transportation is closed. Everything, the airports, the railway stations, there is no transportation whatsoever, taxis or anything. And
like Wuhan, the Chinese also completely shut down. So
Yeah.
this is one of the main reasons why the students of CTGU, they are suffering, because like in the Hubei province, all the cities are shut down just like Wuhan. And this was one of the major concern for the Chinese government too, because this disease was spreading in a, like, as you can see, in a widespread area. So this step was because of that
Yes.
this step was taken. And like you said, for the drugs, as our like they he said, this is a new virus, like novel coronavirus. Till now, there is no drug
Discovered.
that has been found. So we cannot take.
That's
Just
true.
the only precautions that we are taking. Yeah, we are taking is to like wear this mask and not to go to the crowded places or be in touch with the Chinese people, because most of them, like we don't know who of them are carrier or infected, and it can be a risk. Like if you go out, it is a major risk we are taking. So that's why like evacuation is much more needed.
That's right. And how are things at the university where you are? Do you have a running supply of food and medicines? What is the situation there at your university?
Okay, so our university has provided us with one canteen facility, but the food is prepared by, of course, Chinese people.
Okay.
So we cannot trust everybody. We don't trust anybody at this point. So our first goal is to just stay safe and keep ourselves to us and avoid public contact. So what we do is we had bought like rice and everything. So all we do is use them to cook our food, which we are running out of. And talking about drugs, there are no drugs, like there is no medicines, nothing. What the university and of course the Chinese government has told us is, if when we start showing even if the smallest of symptoms like cough or anything, headache, fever, we go to the hospital. That will be the only way out of this. Go and get tested.
Okay. Are you in touch with the Indian authorities, because the government of India has already sent across its first flight, the first Air India, which is gone to China to rescue about the first batch of Indians, about 400 Indians. Are you in touch with the Indian authorities, and in when you could be on board one such flight as well?
Yes, of course. We are in touch with the Indian embassy. We are in touch with one Mr. Deepak. He is the representative of the embassy. And we did get messages that a flight has been arranged for the evacuation of students in Wuhan. And he also assured us that there will be another flight for students or Indian citizens who have been stuck in other parts of Hubei province. So, yeah, we are looking forward to the other flight. But till now, we know that one flight has been arranged and the
All right,
students
so
are
you're
somewhat
saying
ready to board the flight from Wuhan.
all right. So, of course, this is undoubtedly a lockdown situation of what you're facing right now. You're, of course, safe within the premises of your university in the hostel, but evacuation is what you say will bring in immediate relief, because this is minute-to-minute precaution that you're living in, saying that there is no other choice. Please stay on with us. We really appreciate you speaking with us, and we really hope you're back in India, evacuated as soon as possible. This is undoubtedly a very scary situation to be caught in. There are precautions that are being taken here in India at each individual state government level here as well. Let's get in those inputs. My colleague Tanima is going to take us through what each state is doing, apart from screening that is happening at these airports. Tanima, over to you for those details here. This is, of course, as far as screening, precautionary measure, and, of course, treatment is concerned at the earliest possible stage.
Seen over the past few days, Seher, is that a lot of effort has in fact gone in, not just from the central government, the health ministry, but also by individual states, in order to ensure that the passengers who are returning from China to that particular area, to that particular airport, are screened properly. But other than that, what are all the states doing? Today's status check actually shows, tracks a few states. Like the first one that we're looking at is Karnataka, where 4 isolation wards have in fact been set up by the state. primarily, of course, at the Bengaluru airport area. These are isolation wards which will be set up at all district hospitals. So all the district hospitals in the state are going to have these isolation wards, but primarily concentrating around the international airport there. If you look at what Maharashtra is doing, passengers being screened at the Mumbai airport, as we know that at least over 4,000 passengers have in fact already been screened at the Mumbai airport itself, and there are around 10 to 11 people who are under observation in Maharashtra. Samples are being tested at the NIV in Pune, so they are constantly being sent to the National Institute of Virology in Pune in order to be tested. If you look at Kerala, coronavirus patient, of course, that's the state which has the confirmed coronavirus patient. In this case, the coronavirus patient, there's a constant monitoring of the patient. The student is supposed to be in stable condition. Around 1,053 people are under observation. So the number in Kerala is, of course, the highest. The number of people who are under observation is over 1,000 in Kerala.
Right.
So they are constantly being monitored as well. Kerala to launch awareness campaign very soon, as we mentioned that this is the state which has seen the confirmed case as well as the largest number of people who have been kept under observation. So that's a cause of concern for the state there, and the hospital staff is going to be trained by the health department, and which will of course include people from the Central Health Ministry as well. And the testing center is to be set up in Alappuzha area of the state of Kerala. So that is of course what Kerala is doing, and what we have seen is there are efforts being made in Delhi as well. 5 suspected cases currently under observation. So this is a roundup of what we are seeing, what each state is doing, whether it's Karnataka, Kerala, Delhi or Maharashtra. But at the moment, as we know, there's only one confirmed case in the country so far.
All right, Tanima, many thanks for getting us those details. Dr. Bagai, final word to you here. As a responsible country, we of course had started much earlier in the day with all of these precautionary measures, but there are still, of course, several people under suspicion, under observation here. The treatment of this is still a challenge. So once again, wanting to reiterate of all that can be done at the individual level to be alert and to be aware. What is that one thing? Would you say that the biggest precautionary measure, the biggest favor that one can do to ourselves is to be in a sanitized environment, to constantly be keeping yourself and your surroundings clean?
Yeah, I think there are 2 basic precautions which universally everyone from every part of India and other countries should take. One is to keep away from people who have a cough or cold or who are sneezing. At least keep a safe distance of approximately 5 to 7 feet, a meter plus, because the droplet infections can percolate approximately 4 to 6 feet after a person coughs or sneezes in front of another human being. And the second is very, very frequent hand washing for at least 20 to 30 seconds. Just simple soap and water. It keeps the personal hygiene intact. It prevents you from transmitting this to other parts of your body, because this virus can also enter into your body through the nose or through your eyes. So hand washing, keeping a safe distance, wearing a mask is only a partial remedy, but keep a safe distance, frequent hand washing, hydrate yourself well, and do not visit countries which are obviously infected or who have a very high incidence like China and Southeast Asia. And in case you have any symptoms, like we have mentioned it earlier, like cough and fever and headache and vomiting, show the local doctor as quickly as possible, and don't rely on home remedies. Do not self-medicate, and do not take medication which can actually cause you more harm at home without being monitored.
Dr. Bagai, many thanks for speaking with us, and to the 2 students there, Ronak and Gopal, who have spoken to us as well. Of course, they would be boarding a flight sometime soon in the evacuation measures that have been started by the government of India. We'll have to leave it at that. This has been the focus on the big story. One huge favor that you do to yourself is, of course, to keep yourself clean in a sanitized environment. And another favor you do to yourself and to others. If you're suffering from a cold, go to the doctor first. Do not travel. Do not take that train. Do not take that flight. Protect yourself and protect fellow passengers as well. Thanks for being with us.